to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the Whammy DT, a pitch shifting pedal which I think is all the pitch shifter you'll ever need. Now I'm sure most of you watching this will be familiar with the Whammy, but you might be less familiar with the different versions of it that are now currently available. So at the moment there are 3 versions of the Whammy available. You have the Ricochet, the standard Whammy, and then the Whammy DT, which is what we're looking at today. So this is the top of the range model, and what it does is it also incorporates features from Digitech's the drop pedal, which allows you to take your tuning lower as well as higher. But this pedal has a lot of functionality, so let's get into it. Everything you're hearing today is my Fender Telecaster played through the Whammy and into my Marshall SV20 head. If at any point you're hearing slightly higher gain sounds, that's because I'm boosting the Marshall with an MXR microamp. So hopefully, as you can see on the pedal cam, we've got 2 rotary knobs as well as 3 switches, as well as a foot pedal. So to start with, we'll start on the Whammy side of this pedal, that being the left hand side. So on this side of the pedal you have 2 sets of options. You have harmony and whammy. So we'll start over on the harmony side. So to switch this side of the pedal on, you're using the foot switch marked whammy. So that's now on. So we'll start with the octave up and down. So what this does when you're in the harmony setting is that when the pedal is in the back position, you get one result, and when the pedal is in the forward position, you get another one. So using the octave up and down as an example, when the pedal is in the back position, as it is now, you get an octave down. And then as you push the pedal forward, you sweep through the octave and go up to an upper octave. So that's the harmony side on the octaves. As you can see on the pedal, you've got lots of different options. So for example, looking down the list, you could say have a 4th when it's shifting up and a 5th when it's shifting down, which sounds something like this. Now moving across on that same rotary dial, you then get to the whammy side. Now this is the side that gives you the sounds that will no doubt come to mind when you think of this pedal. So we'll start off with an octave and go from there. So with it set to an octave, what this allows you to do is to get those iconic whammy sounds and shift it up using the foot switch. Something like this. Now when I hear this sort of thing, Tom Morello immediately comes to mind with things like the solo from Killing in the Name of. Sounds something like that. On this side of the whammy stage, it gives you lots of options again for different amounts that you can shift up as well as down. So for example, if I switch it over now to a 5th down, now you might also notice that at the bottom of this section it says detune. Now what this allows you to do is get an effect a bit like you would when you push a whammy bar forward. Now obviously my Telecaster doesn't have a whammy bar on it, but you can still get a similar effect. So on the shallow setting it sounds a bit like this. So really that gives you the option to just have a slight bit of modulation. If we go over to the deep setting, and then if you really want to get extreme with it and go for more of a Floyd Rose type of whammy, then you can put it in the dive bomb setting, which then, as the name suggests, will let you do things like dive bombs. So that's the whammy side of this pedal. And now if we move across to the other side, where we have the shift up and shift down section. So we switch that on with the upper of the 2 right pedals. And currently, as it's set in octave plus dry mode, it gives you the sound that you will have heard in the intro to this video, which straight away brings things like Radiohead, My Iron Lung to mind. Which I think is a great sound and I will probably be using in my own music at some point. You've also got various other intervals on this side that you can choose. So for example, you can just have the octave up, or go for, say, a fifth up. So say you wanted to play a song or a section of a song or something in D standard rather than E standard, you could put it into the shift down 2 semitones option, and that sounds something like this. So if we now drop it down all the way into the octave below, you start getting into bass territory. That actually reminds me of my bass 6 quite a lot. That gives you a similar sort of vibe. That being said, I think you can tell the difference when it's modulated, especially when you're going down a few semitones or going up. You do get some slight artifacting with this pedal that you wouldn't if you were just in those tunings. But I still think it's a pretty close sound. I mean, you can obviously hear what it sounds like as well, so leave me a comment and let me know what you think. How obvious is it that this guitar isn't in that tuning? But let's have a look at the octave down and dry setting as well, which is quite a common sound and gives you sort of something that I actually quite like for sort of more of a funk sound. So that's really the function of the other side of this pedal. So you may have also noticed that there is a momentary section. So say I set it to an octave up without the dry, and then switch off that side of the pedal. When I step on the momentary section, it comes on, but only for as long as I hold in the pedal. So that gives you a similar thing as you have access to on the whammy side with the pedal, but with a much faster ramp up time. It comes in quite useful and keeps things more consistent, I think anyways, as it makes it easier to get those step ups the same every time rather than having to do it manually with your foot. But there you go, so there's a quick look at the Whammy DT. Now I know we've only really touched the surface and given you a brief run through of how it works. As you can see from looking at all of the options on the pedal, this thing has endless potential and so many different options for the noises that you can make with it. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and what are some of your favourite riffs that use a whammy that I haven't mentioned in this video. That's it for today, but as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.